your city's comprehensive plan. And just on another curious note, have you been involved in helping to develop your city's comprehensive plan? Thank you. All right, now, for Rathdrum, it says here in this question, the current Rathdrum comprehensive plan identifies a policy to avoid annexing new areas into the city until existing available properties are filled in and utilized. Do you support the rapid expansion of current city limits and the annexation of new areas for development?
No, I've already spoken that I'm opposed to the annexation. The 152 acre Meyer farm property, 470-ish homes, I think it is. 115 acres at Lancaster and 41, that's 300 and something homes. We already have developments like Corbin Crossing that still have homes that have not yet broken ground. We have homes that are in the area there behind the high school where they're tearing out more and more of the forest land and putting in new roads and building new homes. We haven't filled in what we have in our city yet, and there's over 700 homes that haven't even broke ground yet.
What was the question?
It says here that the current Rathdrum comprehensive plan identifies a policy to avoid annexing new areas into the city until existing available properties are filled in and utilized. Do you support the rapid expansion of current city limits and the annexation of new areas for development?
Well, you know, like I said, I've been on the council for 12 years, and my whole goal has been smart growth. We've attempted to infill wherever and whenever we can. We can't make someone sell their property. We can't force someone not to sell their property. If it's in our comprehensive plan and it's in future growth, if it meets all the qualifications, can you imagine someone coming to you and saying, no, you can't sell your property? Sorry, too bad. We're gonna close the door on that. We all came here from somewhere. A lot of us are, you know, I'm an Air Force brat, but I know a lot of y'all are probably natives. But we all came here from somewhere. And the door wasn't shut on us before. And if it fits the comprehensive plan and it makes sense, then yes, I'm for growth. Not rapid extension and, you know, the rapid growth that gets out of control. But like I said, if it meets our comprehensive plan and there's no reason for us to say no, and there's nobody in the audience, then we're going to do it.
We are in favor of infill. I am in favor of infill. And many of those lots have already been sold. They just haven't been built yet, the houses. Of course, you know, there are certain parts of the city that are just not annexed in, but we always want to do infill as the first course of action. And there are a lot of subdivisions coming, I agree, but we are very careful about that, and we want to do infill first. And I know we have annexed some land for future growth, but we're being a lot more careful these days.
I absolutely oppose leapfrog development and the annexation of farmland and its conversion to urban. It should not be done. We're not going to get 100% infill development because there are going to be landholders who do not want to build on their properties. And that's a given. But I do not believe in leapfrog annexation of county property that's farmland.
On a related note, what is your position on building density? Do you favor multi-unit or single-family homes? Do you favor smaller lot sizes for single-family homes?
This is for who? We'll bring the mic all the way back.
This can be for anyone.
Bring the mic all the way back, please.
Sure.
This is a great question. Our comprehensive plan that's in place, it was approved in 2008, said that Hayden wants to be a village feel to it and semi-rural. And what I'd like to see is development in the zoning of a suburban residential, which means 2 houses per acre. We do have a residential zoning that allows a greater density of approximately 7 to 8 homes per acre. That's way too much, the way I see it. And multifamily has an incredible impact on our city because of the services that we have to provide for police protection actually go up when you do multifamily versus residential. So I'm in favor of keeping Hayden a semi-rural and a village feel to it, and not being overrun by these large developments. I'm the only person that's voted against the large developments, and Hayden, my fellow city council members have not.
The comprehensive plan in Hayden, as Matt stated, is from 2008. It's over 20 years old, so it is quite outdated. I know that there have been several projects proposed on vacant land for single-family homes on larger lots that have not been approved by the city. So again, I think that it's a combination of working with the citizens, the city, builders, homeowners to reach that goal, but also I am an advocate for revising our comprehensive plan according to the current state of the city.
Single family, larger lots.
On the council, you know, you get the housing developments, they come in and you look at the different future use plans. You might have a mix of, you know, multifamily here, larger lots. And as I said before, we've had a mix of all kinds of different developments that come in, but we always want to make it continue with what is currently there. So if they currently have houses on a 1/4 of an acre lot, we try to stay contiguous, whatever is there. We've had a number of developers come in and want to put double the amount that was there before, or should be there, and we've said no to that. We are always looking for smart growth in the city of Rathdrum.
I am not in favor of adding too many houses to an acre. We have, in fact, several developments, we sent it back to the drawing board because the density was just too much. And I think a lot of the newer developers approaching realize that we're not going to go for this cramming people in. I do understand that there is a need for multifamily housing. I don't always agree with mixing it right in with residential, but people need a place to live. I don't like mixing uses. It's important to me that we allow people to have a place to live, but I don't like mixing use.
Personally, I do not have a problem with high-density housing as long as it's associated with an increase in the amount of parks adjacent to these high-density and interconnected walkways, like pathways through the areas. I think it would work in that case. I absolutely do not want to see any farmland turned into housing, though.
I've heard a lot of input from the citizens of Coeur d'Alene, and I think that that is what we need to be listening to, is the citizens of Coeur d'Alene and what they want. And they don't want the high density increases in Coeur d'Alene. They do like the character and charm of the city, and they would like to see that continue in the city. So I would ask for more input for the citizens to make sure that we're doing what they want to see their city deliver.
If you go to my website at dangookin.com, you'll see a couple of videos where I fought higher density being put in, which destroyed the surrounding neighborhood, and also something that I've fought, and I have a good public record on that. That being said, density is coming. we have to be very careful where we're going to put it. We don't want to destroy an established neighborhood. We want to make sure we're going to put it somewhere that traffic and that water and sewer can handle it. We also got to make sure that we have a lot of green space around it. And this means more regulations, by the way. If you're going to do that, you have to add regulations. And the builders, they don't like that. They don't like having to put open space between buildings and adding green. But that's what makes the density attractive. If you went to the Missing Middle Housing Forum, that's what you saw, was a lot of high density that looked good because it had a lot of green around it. So we'll see how that works, but it's something we're going to have to deal with.
As a public servant, I'm in favor of what I hear from the community. So right now, the city's redoing their comprehensive plan from 2007. So now's the time for citizens to get involved, people to voice their opinions. And there's not a room for growth in Coeur d'Alene, so there's got to be some density. There's got to be a little bit of urban sprawl, a mix of things. And we need to do that in a planned, smart way, but not so locked in that in the future we can change what would work better. So I think the citizens really need to get involved and voice their opinion and let their city councilmen and women know that they'd rather see in Coeur d'Alene while this comprehensive plan process is going on.
How many of you have been homeless? How many of you know what it's like to not have a place to live? The wait lists on most of the apartments in Coeur d'Alene are 30 to 50 people deep, and they're not turning over. So what do? We say, you can't live here, there's not enough space. Or do we come up with a creative solution to actually make it to where everyone's happy? We keep the character of downtown and maybe add in some situations where you have some multi-unit houses. It looks just like everything else. It's fantastic. Everyone's happy. You put in a few apartments. I feel like we're not looking at what we need. The heart of Coeur d'Alene, we are a town with open arms. And we need to figure out how to make everybody have a place where they can feel safe and protected and their kids can flourish here. Because right now, it's very, very, very hard to find a place to live if you're not blessed enough to own property, if you're not blessed enough to be in a situation where you found a job where you can actually, get what you want. It takes time and you have to step up from somewhere.
Well, I think a lot of it depends on how you define multifamily density. For some folks, I think even a duplex is too much versus one. But again, I was born and raised here, and just think about, picture the old IGA on about 10th and Sherman. And if you go out in about an 8-10 block radius, there are a number of like 8-plex kind of brick homes. There's right downtown Coeur d'Alene, a lot of old homes that have been turned into multifamily, and so we are going to have more density, but it's got to be done right. For a couple of years, I ran Habitat for Humanity, and frankly, Habitat for Humanity cannot afford to buy a single-family building lot in Coeur d'Alene anymore, and then be able to build a house to make it affordable. So it's a tough issue.
I think that converting a lot of these older homes, these bigger homes, into multi-family units, there's a lot of that. If you walk around the neighborhoods, you see that all over the place. I don't think anybody disagrees that that's a good use. Infill, vacant lots, vacant spaces that could be built on, that could be built with duplexes, maybe fourplexes. Again, it doesn't change the character of the neighborhood. What I can't support is coming into a neighborhood and buying up 6, 7, 8 lots, knocking the houses down, and then building a 42-unit apartment complex in the middle of an established neighborhood. So there's going to be areas of density. Identify what those areas are, and that's what you expect in those areas. But as a homeowner who lives in a residential neighborhood, you should not have to worry about or have an expectation that a 40-unit apartment complex is going to pop up in your backyard.
We're over